Ja, liebe Freunde, willkommen zurück. Es ist Montag, es ist wieder Zeit für Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Episode 5, Rise from the Ashes. Wir sind im Day 4, im Trial Letter. Das Ganze nehme ich auf übrigens, nachdem ich gerade eben schon komplett das Game durchgespielt habe. Das Problem allerdings ist, dass ich, also ich kann euch sagen, es wartet ein Guilty Verdict auf euch. So viel sei schon mal gesagt. Ich habe einmal ein Game Over kassiert. Ich habe das Ganze aufgenommen, nur komischerweise hat es meine Facecam nicht aufgenommen. Ich glaube, ich weiß warum. Das heißt, meine Audiospur ist ebenfalls nicht präsent. Deswegen habe ich mir gedacht, okay, nehme ich das Ganze nochmal auf. Ist ja kein Problem. Dann wollen wir mal. Time for the final showdown, liebe Freunde. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Natürlich, wie immer. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Da hab ich noch Déjà-vu. I've been in this place before. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Ja, definitiv Déjà-vu hier. You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around all around while on duty. And to top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this time it's the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there were a break in today's trial. Evidence law, yeah. Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? Seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. Mein Gott. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a massage. A massage. She said if you're planning to take him on, the band, you're going to need this book. Him. Funeral of Hearts. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. So this guy explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined by this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma's guy found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. It means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him. Aber hallo. Genau, hier schauen wir uns nämlich mal das Evidence Law an. Rule number 1, rules for submitting evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Und Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Die 2 Dinger müssen wir uns merken. Oder habe ich mir gemerkt. Nicht. Without the approval of the police department und unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Wissen wir ja, wurde uns, glaube ich, auch schon von Edgeworth natürlich gesagt. In der letzten Episode. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Aber hallo. Emma, Lana, Edgeworth, mittlerweile auch Detective Gumshoe. Einige sind auf jeden Fall mit involviert. Und der natürlich am meisten dafür verantwortlich ist, das können wir uns mittlerweile natürlich schon denken, ist Mr. Demon, wie ich ihn gerne nenne. Demon Gant. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Pleased. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, ahem. Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. Just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses, was sehr interessant ist. But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Deal. Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. Kann natürlich nur einer sein. Und wir bekommen jetzt natürlich die ganze... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Und das ist natürlich Demon fucking Gunt. Oder der Gumshoe, genau. Eindeutig Gumshoe. Demon Gunt. The defense calls Demon Gunt to the stand. Demon Gunt. What does he have to do with anything? As the murder? As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gunt has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the last likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? Das allerdings auch, ja. True. Alright. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gunt to the stand. Und hier beginnt's genau. Diese Episode ist auch der Part, in dem ich fucking den Judge hasse und Gunt. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. Das liebe ich an Edgeworth auf jeden Fall, wenn er so drauf ist. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gunt? Fine. My name is Damon Gunt. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gunt, the court requests to hear your testimony. Alright, oh, what's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Allerdings. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Was absoluter Bullshit ist. Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. Da habe ich auch die Frage gestellt, ist es ihm auch gestattet, nicht die Wahrheit zu sagen? Ist das auch in seinem Spektrum? Was ziemlich bescheuert wäre. Das ist so schon bescheuert. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up that power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Die Frage ist, wie lange das gedauert hat, bis er da war. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Why the fuck you lying? Allerdings, auf mehr als eine Art und Weise. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. And furious. Und das kriegen wir natürlich auch hin. Neil and I were questioning him that day. Oh, sorry, we slipped out. The power outage didn't help either. Oh, genau, da pressen wir ihn. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about the power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Fragezeichen. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. Wobei wir natürlich pressen, ganz klar. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been removed. So that means moved. You found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. Anyway. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Aber wir da natürlich eindeutig... Genau, bin ich jetzt in dem Fall natürlich mal durchgegangen, was wir letzten Endes hier benutzen können. Wobei wir hier logischerweise schon so gut wie alles einmal durch hatten. Kann durchaus angehen natürlich, dass wir ein paar Sachen haben, die man mehrfach einsetzen kann, was auf jeden Fall auch noch zum Tragen kommt. Aber gerade jetzt bei diesem Punkt bin ich eben nochmal durchgegangen. Switchblade Knife können wir in dem Fall zu dem Zeitpunkt nicht wirklich benutzen, weil es in dem Fall nichts beweist, außer eventuell ID-Card Report, weil er ja nochmal in den Evidence Room gegangen ist. Und wir haben immer noch nicht geklärt oder eingetragen, wer Nummer 7777 ist, wobei wir das natürlich mittlerweile mehr als genau wissen. Ich bin nochmal nachgeschaut, aber der Tag war AI16. Is written on the tag, that means it has nothing to do with the current case. Und wie wir im Buch gelesen haben, nur Evidence relevant to the current case. Was natürlich hier nicht der Fall ist. Hier bin ich nochmal durchgegangen bei den Floorplans, um mal genau zu schauen, was eben drauf ist. Rubber Glove haben wir ebenfalls noch, was relevant sein könnte für den SL9-Incident eben letzten Endes. Ich weiß nicht, ob wir das schon mal eingesetzt haben bisher. Ich bin mir nicht ganz sicher. Wir haben die SL9-Incident-Files natürlich, bei denen wir nochmal durchschauen können, wobei hier ebenfalls eben auch nur die Namen drin stehen, deswegen können wir hier das nicht benutzen, um irgendwas zu pressen. Außer eventuell natürlich die Evidence List, die ja ebenfalls in seinem Locker zu finden waren. Also das, was am meisten Sinn machen würde, wenn ich gerade nochmal nachdenke, wäre dann vielleicht doch die Evidence List eher. Wenn wir die einsetzen, heißt es. Bin mir nicht ganz sicher. Weil hier ist auf jeden Fall Forgery am Werk. Bei der Evidence List, das wissen wir. Genau. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. Allerdings. That's the list Emma's guy drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar was sitting in your office. Was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant. These articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation und dass ich in dein Büro eingebrochen bin. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Naja, eingebrochen mehr oder weniger. Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? What? Why would I have anything to do with that? Das war extrem schwacher Konter. Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorney can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Haben wir noch nie gemacht bisher. However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Ist er nicht mittlerweile sowieso schon entlassen? Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence. Der mittlerweile wahrscheinlich kein Detective mehr ist. Please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, my. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Sagte der Schuldige. evidence, and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they are worthless. There is no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Okay, kann auch sein, dass der Judge natürlich in dem Fall einfach nur mit... Naja. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Aji. In return, though. I know. That plays, right? What are these guys? Telepathic? Vielleicht spielt er nur mit Demon Guns, einfach damit er seinen Job behält. Aji. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Weshalb? I'd appreciate if you would stop making these ridiculous allegations. Allerdings. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped a cow over. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Rido's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. Girl, I never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. Können wir ihn, glaube ich, pressen? Ja. What do you mean by that? Extrem gut, dass ich hier anscheinend extrem viel nachgedacht habe. This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery... I'm not through speaking yet, Rido. It depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they are worthless. Nah. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have been suddenly materialized the day Dark was sentenced. Sicher doch. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will not succeed in yeah. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Rido. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Da könnten wir eventuell die Vase sogar zeigen, glaube ich. How can you look me in the eye saying that? And say that. Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position of you have, Chief of Police. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho ho ho! Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Ah! Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there is only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Allerdings. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for, me, myself, and I. Okay. Okay, De La Soul. It's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Wouldn't be anyone accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Press that. Do it. Press it. Sagt. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people, that's how I was raised. Born and raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh! That's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Natürlich, in dem Fall gibt's nur einen und das wäre natürlich Lana Skye. Dem er ausgeholfen hat, um eben auch logischerweise von ihr auch was zu bekommen. Und das wäre wahrscheinlich totale Kontrolle. Über nicht nur ihn, beziehungsweise die Polizei, sondern eben auch logischerweise, dass sie dann Head Chief von Prosecutor Head Chief ist, eben auch über die Prosecutors. Alle. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But. Ich glaube genau, da bin ich ja nochmal durchgegangen eben letzten Endes. Wenn er das Sagen hat über alle Prosecutors und die Polizei. Und wir schauen uns nochmal an, was wir in dem Buch hatten von Lana. But it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Ich sag's euch, dieser Judge. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gunt may have helped forge evidence? Natürlich the Gumshoe. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant. I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gunt, he would have also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Yup. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SR9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gunt. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he's a fucking douchebag? Exakt. Judge. Und ja, alle Evidence muss durch die Polizei zuerst durchgecheckt werden und wird dann erst weitergereicht. He plays with puppets. Ich hasse ihn. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Ja, was denn sonst? Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as a chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right on, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. Das wäre? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Ja, momentan würde sie das wahrscheinlich nicht machen, das ist das Problem. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gunt. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident, which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Was ja auch der Fall ist. Ist mittlerweile mehr als klar eigentlich. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gunt is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Exakt, da kannst du dann nicht wahrhaben. Ich hasse diesen Judge. Werdet ihr auch gleich merken, warum. Wird immer schlimmer. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. Er ist ein normaler Mensch. Verdammte Axt, das heißt nicht, dass er über dem Gesetz steht. Zu einem gewissen Grad leider schon. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder. Ja, das ist das ganz normal. Kann passieren. Passiert auch leider. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Ashworth said in easier to understand language. The fear from karma is showing. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Was ich gut finde. 2 gegen 1. Let's go. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, ein normaler Mensch, is involved in this murder? Wenn wir mal genau nachdenken, was wir jetzt in dem Fall letzten Endes alles haben, wäre eigentlich der ID-Card-Record, weil wir mittlerweile wissen, was die Nummer 7 und so weiter eben letzten Endes ist. Beziehungsweise wem diese Nummer letzten Endes gehört. Das heißt, der ID-Card-Report wäre wahrscheinlich das Einzige, was wir jetzt hier zeigen könnten, wenn es dazu kommt, dass wir hier eben was präsentieren müssen letzten Endes. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gunt is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gunt to the murder of Detective Goodman. Und das Einzige, was wir da quasi haben, wäre, wie angesprochen, dann eben letzten Endes, ich glaube, da gehe ich auch direkt rüber, genau, zum ID-Card-Report, denn wir haben hier alle Leute, die reingegangen sind. Und das war der allererste, der hier reingegangen ist, war logischerweise Gunt. This is the ID-Card list. Yes, the one that shows us who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Exakt. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7 times 7. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gunt's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 times 7. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gunt, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Jetzt haben wir ihn langsam, ja. Order. Chief Gunt, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright will be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you, lieber Edgeworth, about the use of this ID card. Sehr gut, Edgeworth, sehr gut. Chief Gunt, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm the chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go wherever, anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? Always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you. Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. Nah, you hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gunt. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. Yep. What do you mean? This trial's purpose to determine Lana Sky's guilt. Der Typ hat keine Ahnung. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The trial's purpose is to determine the truth. Exact. If Chief Gunt met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during the meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gunt on the day of the crime. Und dafür haben wir natürlich eine Sache, und das ist der Item Report von Goodman. Genau, der seine ID-Karte verloren hat. Und wem gibt man diesen Lost Item Report? Logischerweise dem Chief of Police. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Zu Mr. Marshall wissen wir ja mittlerweile. Or to be more accurate, Jack Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do you know, I ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to, yes. To transfer the evidence out. Yup. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gunt. Then you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him. There is no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Yep. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Ja, natürlich, ist klar, Junge. Ist klar. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Genau so sieht's aus. Ja, Gotti. Gotti. Chief Gant, you didn't... Oh, doch. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, or not one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know? And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Also, you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office? I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Und jetzt, da ich übrigens das Ganze nochmal durchlese, hätten wir, glaube ich, den Parking Stop ebenfalls einsetzen können. Denn er hat es ja im Auto transportiert. Die Sache allerdings ist, dass ich den Schraubenzieher gewählt habe. Wobei ich jetzt übrigens auch nicht mehr genau weiß, wie das genau zusammenpasst. Aber der Parking Stop definitiv, denn der Parking Stop zeigt letzten Endes, dass mit diesem Auto eben letzten Endes da geparkt wurde oder beziehungsweise da reingefahren wurde. Wobei auch hier, brought back to his office by Gunt's request. Also hat auf jeden Fall Gunt was mit diesem Screwdriver letzten Endes zu tun gehabt, sodass er natürlich, dass er Edgeworth abgelenkt hat, sodass er in das Auto einbrechen konnte oder irgendjemand in das Auto einbrechen konnte, wahrscheinlich Lana, dass Lana dieses Auto einbrechen könnte, sodass eben Mr. Edgeworth nichts mitkriegt und er eben weiterhin nicht sein Auto benutzt, sondern weiterhin eben zurückgeht, wobei er ja eigentlich gar nicht mehr zurück ins Büro wollte an diesem Tag, wobei Gunt ihm gesagt hat, er soll in dieses Büro wieder zurückgehen an diesem Tag. Puh, das war ein Mund voll. Wobei ich hier eben auch nochmal alles durchgehe, um zu schauen, ob hier irgendwo Gunt noch erwähnt wird. Was allerdings logischerweise nicht der Fall ist. Sondern das einzige Mal, an dem Gunt hier wirklich erwähnt wird, ist bei dem Screwdriver. Deswegen war das eben das naheliegendste. Wobei ich hier nochmal durchgegangen bin und dann eben überlegt habe, okay, mit dem Screwdriver, da habe ich ein bisschen falsch überlegt, dass irgendwie der Fenster mit aufgebrochen wurde. Aber das wäre ja auch hier verzeichnet gewesen. Aber natürlich wird auch gleich nochmal gesagt, der Screwdriver eben nur als Ablenkung für Edgeworth eben letzten Endes da. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver. But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Nah! I was asked to go by Chief Gunt, no less. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Yep. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gunt asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Yep. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky. Exakt. Order. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. Direkt weiter, gar nicht auf den Judge eingehen, richtig so. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. Ich hasse diesen Judge. I believe. Your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Rido, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. Ja, ist ja praktisch. What? That's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this. Run away. Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you have any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Demon Gant is the current chief of police. As ein Mensch, this court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Sky dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? Deswegen bin ich hier nochmal alles durchgegangen, wobei wir hier dann eben zu dem Entschluss gekommen sind, dass wir absolut nichts haben, was ihn direkt, oder was das eben direkt belegt. Deswegen ist die einzige richtige Aussage eben hier, I have no proof, denn wir haben keinen. Wir haben nichts, was genau das eben letzten Endes zeigt oder unterstützt. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. See ya, G. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. Here's a tip, never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Rido. It seems that Lady Luck was not on my side today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest up to you. Gott, wie ich gerade momentan alle also zumindest Aji hier und fucking Gant hasse. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior office in our nation's law enforcement agency. Ein normaler Mensch, der ein Mörder ist. Danke. Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth, another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Lana. Who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Allerdings. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth. Natürlich Lana Sky. The defendant, Miss Lana Sky. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Die einzige, die wir noch haben, ja. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the testimony. This court is now in Hold on. I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. Ja, natürlich. Jetzt können wir es ja erst aus erster Hand hören. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. Nicht, wenn du hinter Gittern landest. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Yeah, fuck off. Eat the blackish part of my ass. Okay, if there aren't any other further objections, the court is now in recess. Objections. February 25th, 2:04 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Let's see. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. Like a memory card. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office. Was interessant wäre, zusammen mit Maya? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Ja, natürlich, Maya. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gunn's done it again, and how is it always he gets the upper hand? Das möchte ich im zweiten Teil Justice for All auf jeden Fall sehen. Er in unserem Office zusammen mit Maya, Faye, wäre großartig. Wäre ein super Team. Er macht die Investigations und wir können uns komplett auf Court eben letzten Endes konzentrieren, aufs Gericht. Warum nicht? Und Maya hilft uns sowieso aus vor Gericht. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? Ja, das finde ich auch eine besteuerte Regelung. But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. Exakt. There are certain risks to be considered. Dass er auch nicht die Wahrheit sagen muss vielleicht. Risks. What did he mean by that? Simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Ah, Hallöchen. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery, so she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gunn's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gunn may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? Was ich mir nicht vorstellen kann. No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Ob das in dem Fall jetzt von to be continued.